Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make some earrings today, and I'm going to use some of the products that came in the most recent dollar bead box, the one for December 2023. And for some reason when I did this unboxing video I kept saying December 2024. I don't know where in the world my mind was. This year has flown by fast enough. I sure don't want to rush another one. So I don't know where my mind was. I'll put a link in the corner of this video and in the description box below to the unboxing video I did for this subscription in case you want to watch it, where I go into more detail about all the beads and everything that came in the box. I have a coupon code. It's THJ2, and I'll put it on the screen here and in the description box below, along with a link to the page to sign up for the subscription if you're interested. The coupon code will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. Other than the beads that came in the box, and I'll go over them as I make each earring, the only thing from my stash that I'm using are some ear wires, of course. I've got some bead caps, because y'all know if I don't have bead caps, I panic. I've got some ball head pins and some eye pins and some 22 gauge German style wire. And I'm using all gold findings. Of course, you don't have to use gold. You can switch it out for whatever finish you would rather have if you don't want to use gold. I think that's all for my stash. The tools I'm using will be my chain nose pliers, my tweezer pliers, my round nose pliers, both pairs of my bent chain nose pliers, my bead-along crimping pliers that I use to tuck in the burrs when I cut off wire, and the cutters that I use to cut craft wire and head pins and eye pins and things like that. And I've got my little New Orleans shot glass to put my wires in when I cut them off. I think that's everything. So hold on and I'll get the first pair out here that I'm going to make. I've got one pair made of each one, and I'm going to make the other one with you all. So hold on, I'll get the first ones out and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to make my first little earring here, and these are all just really simple, really easy earrings. Quick and easy, maybe something you could make for holiday presents if you're looking to do that. They're all quite similar in construction because I'm just not very imaginative when it comes to earrings, I'm afraid. And they're all quite long and dangly, and I guess that's the same reason I make long necklaces. I just can't seem to make a short earring either. I meant to make some shorter ones, but they all came out long and dangly. In this one, I'm using the 5x6mm check glass faceted beads. Those are the small ones there. And in the middle there is the check glass twisted rondelle. They're 6x8mm. And I'm using some bead caps for my stash. And I'm using the two 10x17mm brass leaves that came in the box to hang off the bottom there. So I'm going to take I've got about a 4-inch piece of my German style wire. I usually try to use a 3.5-inch piece to not waste so much, but I don't know, I guess I was feeling insecure today and didn't think a 3.5-inch piece would be long enough. I don't know. So I'm going to go down probably about 1.5 inches there. I'm going to bend over at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me. I'm going to bend the wire back until it hits the tool. I'm going to rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. Now I'm going to open my loop. And I have to open it quite a bit here because I want to thread this little leaf on here, and I want to be very careful because I don't want to break my little or crack my little leaf. I might have to open it a little bit more than I have it open. These little leaves have got 2 holes in them, but I'm just using the top one. I think I'm going to have to open it some more. See if I can get it in here. I decided to do this one first because it's the fiddliest one because you have to get this little leaf in there, but of course you can attach. I tried to attach it with a jump ring, but I don't have any jump rings thin enough to go through that little leaf, so I'm having to do it this way. So now I'm going to close my loop now that I finally got my leaf on there. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and I'm going to very carefully hold on to this and try not to break my little leaf bead. But I need to wrap this around the short piece of wire around the long piece of wire. I'm going to do that about 3 times. Okay, now I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. And now I'm going to take my, I got to look and see how I did this first one. Okay, I'm going to take my check glass faceted bead, put it on here, and put a bead cap facing away from that bead, and one of my twisted rondelles, and another bead cap facing toward my rondelle, and another check glass faceted bead. Now I want to make this loop at the top facing opposite the loop at the bottom so that it'll hang on my ear wire the way I want it to. And I need to straighten this one down here up because it's trying to be not straight. So I'm going to go this way so that my loop will face different than the loop at the bottom. With the very tip of the pliers, bend over at a 90-degree angle. Take my round nose pliers, put them in the crook of the bend, round nose pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the bead, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop, bring my wire down a little bit. I'm going to take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. I'm just going to wrap until there's no more room to wrap. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Got that pretty close there. It's kind of hard to get that. There we go. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and I'm going to squish in my little burrs that are left when I cut off the wire. And if this is the first time you're watching me do this and you wonder why I didn't tuck that loop in when I made the first loop, I know a lot of people tuck their wires in when they make that first loop, but I find it easier to do if I have a bead to brace against. If I don't, I end up mangling the loop and the wire and everything else. So I just wait till I get them both on there. And now I'm just gonna, now these beads are, or these leaves are kind of curved. Like, see if I can get it here so you can see it. They're kind of curved like that. I want to make sure they're both facing the same way when I put it on my ear wire here. I'm just going to open my ear wire and thread on my earring here, close up my ear wire. So there's that little earring to match this little earring. So now hold on, I'll get my next pair. I'll be back. Okay, this is my next earring I'm going to make. I'm using 2 of the 7 by 19 millimeter check glass faceted oval beads in matte jet mocha. And I'm using a total of 2 for each earring, of the 6 millimeter check glass pearls in golden sand. I'm using 1 for each earring of the 8 millimeter check glass Baroque pearls in cream. I've got some bead caps that I'm putting around the Baroque pearl there. So I'm going to take a ball head pin here. You don't have to have a ball head pin. You can use a regular head pin if you want. And I'm going to put my oval bead on it here. And I'm going to make a simple loop here. You can make, anywhere that I'm making simple loops, you can make wrapped loops. I would rather make wrapped loops. I'm not very good at simple loops, but these earrings are already coming out to be long enough, so a simple loop is a little bit, not hardly as long as a wrapped loop, so I decided to do simple loops, although, like I said, I'm not very good at them. And these ball head pins, I would not normally do a simple loop with a ball head pin because most ball head pins are very thin, but these are not. These are about 20 gauge, so they're thicker, so they'll do fine with a simple loop. So I'm going to go a little bit above the bead because I don't want to crack my bead. I'm going to bend at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my cutters. I'm going to cut off and leave about a 1/4 inch or so of the pin there. I'm going to take my round nose pliers, go to the very tip of the pin here, make sure there's no pin sticking out there. Start rolling back a loop. Try to make sure that loop is good and closed. Okay, now I'm going to take my piece of German style wire, go down about 1.5 inches, bend over at a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, round those pliers facing me, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, take the shorter piece of wire up and under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Take this wire down. Wrap the shorter piece of wire around the longer piece of wire about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'm going to put on one of my pearls, one of my bead caps, my Baroque pearl, find the hole, there it is, another bead cap, and another 6 millimeter pearl. I'm going to take my pliers, I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers because I don't want a very long neck. Bend over at a 90-degree angle. Round those pliers, put them in the crook of the bend. Round those pliers facing me. Bend the wire back until it hits the beads. Rotate the pliers till they're facing the table. Take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Pull this wire down a little. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Make sure to get that first wrap in under the bottom of the loop and not over the top of the bottom of the loop. And just wrap until there's no more room to wrap. Now I'm going to take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'll take my crimping pliers and tuck in my burrs. I'm going to take my pliers and open the loop on this simple loop I made down here. Make sure I get the right side, the side that opens. Thread my little link here I made on. Close it back up really well. Now I'm going to take my ear wire, open it up, thread on my earring. So there's that earring to go with that earring. So hold on, I'll get the next ones. Okay, for this pair, I'm using a total of 2 of the 8 by 20 millimeter check glass oval beads in jet, 4 of the 5 by 6 millimeter check glass faceted beads in jet black, 1 of the 8 millimeter Baroque pearls in cream, and I've got some bead caps there. So I'm going to use one of my ball head pins here and put my oval bead on. I'm going to take my pliers, go to a little bit above the bead. I'm going to make another simple loop here. Bend over at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take my cutters, cut off the pin, leaving about 1/4 of an inch there. Take my round nose pliers, go to the end of the pin and roll back a loop. Make sure to get my loop closed really well. And I would like to get it tight enough there that that bead won't spin around, but I don't believe I'm going to be able to do that, so it's probably going to spin around no matter what I do. Now I'm going to take an eye pin and I'm going to open the eye of my eye pin and thread on my little oval bead that I just made here. Close my eye pin back. Make sure to get it closed back really well. Now I'll put one of my little faceted beads, a bead cap, my pearl, another bead cap, and another faceted bead. And now I'm going to go to go a little bit above the bead there. And I think I want to make my loop this way. I think. Might have to turn it around if I'm wrong. I'm going to bend over at a 90-degree angle. Take my cutters, cut off, leaving about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers and roll back a loop. Make sure to get my loop closed really well. I think I might not have left enough of the pin that time. I'm making an awfully tiny loop here. Okay, now I'm going to Take my pliers, open my loop, thread on my ear wire, close my loop back. I'll look and see if this is hanging right. Yeah, I think it is. So there's that earring to go with that earring. So now hold on, I'll get my next pair. Okay, for this one I'm using the 12mm check glass abstract nugget bead in jet. Of course, one for each earring. A total of 4 of the 6mm check glass pearls in golden sand. A total of 2 of the 6x8mm check glass twisted rondelle beads, and I've got some bead caps there. So I'm going to take I've got a ball head pin, put my large nugget bead on here, make a simple loop here. So I'm going to go a little bit above the bead, bend over at a 90-degree angle, take my cutters, cut off and leave about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Take them around those pliers, the tip of the pin there, roll back a loop. To get my loop closed up really well. Now I'm going to take my piece of German style wire, go down about 1.5 inches, bend at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers toward the face of the table, the short piece under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. My bent chain nose pliers, hold on to my loop, bring my wire down, wrap the shorter piece around the longer piece about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. I'm going to take one of my 6mm pearls, one of my bead caps, my twisted rondelle bead, another bead cap, another one of my 6mm pearls. Take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend at a 90-degree angle, around those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the beads, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads, bend chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop, bring my wire down, another pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire, take my crimping pliers and tuck in my little burrs. take my pliers and open up this loop down here on this nugget bead. I can get it to stay still so I can get it open. Thread on my little dangle I've made here. Close my loop back. Trying to give me some trouble here, it won't stay still. Okay, now I'm going to open my ear wire. Thread on my earring. Close my ear wire back. And there's my earring to match that earring. I can get them up here on my fingers so they don't fall around all over the place. Just kind of proving hard to do, but there we go. Hold on, I'll get my next pair. Okay, and this one I'm using the check glass ammonite beads, 16 millimeter in jet. I've got 2 of the Baroque pearls and 1 of the twisted rondelles and some bead caps. So I'm going to take my ball head pin and put my ammonite bead on here. And I'm going to go a little bit above the bead because I'm going to make a simple loop. Bend at a 90-degree angle. Take my cutters and cut off, leaving about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Take my round nose pliers and roll back a loop. That's not a very pretty loop. See if I can cock this back a little bit to make it look better. And then close it again. Yeah, I guess that's a little better, but it's not great. I'm telling y'all, I'm just not good at simple loops. And I'm going to take my piece of 22 gauge wire, go down about 1.5 inches, bend over at a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the pliers, rotate the pliers till they're facing the table, bring the short piece of wire up and under until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. My bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Take my wire down, wrap my short piece of wire around the long piece of wire about 3 times. Take my cutters, cut off my wire. I think I'll go ahead and put my bottom bead here on here before I do the rest of this, because it'll probably be easier than after I get all the beads on there. Okay, now I'm going to take a bead cap, one of my pearls, another bead cap. Got too many bead caps in there, I think. No, I don't. Another bead cap, facing away from that one, like that. Got that piece of thread. There's a piece of thread that attacks me every time I'm doing these videos. Now my twisted rondelle, another bead cap, another bead cap facing the other way, another pearl, and another bead cap. Now I'm going to take my pliers. I think I want to make this loop opposite the loop down here so that it'll hang right on my ear wire. So I'm going to go to the very tip of the pliers, bend at a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the beads, rotate the pliers so they're facing the table, this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. I'll bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this wire down. My other pair of bent chain those pliers and start to wrap. Just wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. Take my pliers and tuck in my burrs. Now I'm going to take my pliers and open my ear wire. Put my little earring on here. Close my ear wire. There's that earring to go with that earring. So hold on, I'll get my last pair. Okay, for this one I'm using the two 17 by 17 millimeter check glass die fan beads in jet travertine with gold wash, two of the twisted rondelles for each earring, and one of the baroque pearls for each earring, and some bead caps. So I'm going to take my ball head pin and put my little die fan bead on here. And I'm going to make another simple loop, although I hate them. So I'm going to go to a little bit above the bead, bend over at a 90-degree angle, my cutters, and cut off a little bit, or cut off until I'm leaving about 1/4 of an inch of the pin. Take my round nose pliers, roll back a loop, make sure to get my loop closed really well. I'm going to take my piece of German style wire, go down about 1.5 inches, bend over to a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until it hits the tool, rotate the pliers so they're facing the table, take this part under here until it hits the bottom of the tool, cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the wire. I bent chain those pliers and hold on to my loop. Bend the short piece of wire around the longer piece of wire about 3 times. My cutters, cut off my extra wire. Go ahead and hook this bead down here to my loop that I just made. Close my loop back up really well. Now I'm going to take a bead cap, a twisted rondelle, a bead cap, another bead cap facing away from that bead cap, my pearl, another bead cap, another bead cap facing away from that bead cap, another twisted rondelle, and another bead cap. I'm going to take my pliers, go to the very tip of the pliers, bend over at a 90-degree angle, round those pliers in the crook of the bend, bend the wire back until the loop is, or till the wire hits the beads. Rotate the pliers to the facing the table. Take this part up and under until it hits the bottom of the tool. Cock the wire back until the loop is centered over the beads. Take my bent chain nose pliers and hold on to my loop. Bring this part down a little bit. Take my other pair of bent chain nose pliers and start to wrap. Wrap till there's no more room to wrap. Take my cutters, cut off my extra wire. My crimping pliers and tuck in my burrs. I'm going to take my ear wire, open it up, put on my earring, close my ear wire back. There's that earring to go with that earring. So now hold on, I'll see if I can get them all together here and I'll be back. Okay, there's all 6 pairs of my earrings made with some of the beads that came in the most recent dollar bead box, the one for December 2023. These are very easy earrings to make, don't take long at all. Like I said, they might be good for holiday gifts if you're looking to make some holiday gifts. And like I said, if you are not a subscriber to the dollar bead box and you decide you want to be, that coupon code will save you $2 off your first box if you sign up. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry, and I also sell gift cards and some extra beads that I have. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.